Tornadoes tore through central Tennessee, and some of that bad weather may be headed here.
I'm watching this severe storm system that is expected to bring us some strong storms tomorrow. Stay tuned to find out.
Coming up, I'll tell you about a Louisiana law that has made it to the Supreme Court.
I feel like I'm in a movie. It's just so sad.
Tornadoes killed at least 22 victims and destroyed 140 buildings in Tennessee last night. Good afternoon, I'm Tess, Rowland.
And I'm Jade Myers. The storms left hundreds of people homeless. That same storm system could bring us severe weather. Reporter Cody Downey is here to explain.
That's right. Though it won't be necessarily as bad as what happened in Tennessee, everyone should be on high alert for the weather coming in. Tomorrow, Louisiana is expecting some severe thunderstorms coming off the Gulf Coast, according to the Storm Prediction Center. All Wednesday will be important to stay cautious on the road and try to stay indoors as much as possible. Areas such as New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Metairie are supposed to have only a slight risk of damage, with Shreveport expecting to receive some marginal damage. This weather will continue into early Thursday morning, so make sure to be prepared both days for this potentially serious storm. However, after that, the weather will move west toward Alabama and Georgia, putting us back in the clear for now. Stay with us to see a full forecast later on.
Tornadoes kill at least 22 storm victims and at least 140 buildings were destroyed. Reporter Amy No has a video from Nashville.
Search and rescue crews work to find victims who still may be trapped. Pictures of the damage show storefronts with broken windows, debris strewn in the streets, and snapped power poles. Now take a look at this video from a Nashville apartment complex. The storm tossed cars on top of cars and pushed them around, breaking car windows. Pictures of the complex's pool show large debris in it. And one woman says they're thankful they're okay.
It sounded like gunshots going off. We heard the windows blowing in, and then we saw the water leaking through the ceiling, and we just grabbed the baby and started to pack everything up as fast as we could.
So we're running down the hallway, the ceiling is just caving in, just debris everywhere, and water is just pouring from the ceiling and like waterfalls into the hallways. The rooftop is missing on part of the building. We went into our room to grab some shoes, and we don't have a door on our building. There's no windows. It's really bad.
One tornado carved a path about 10 miles long, and Tennessee Governor Bill Lee plans to take an aerial tour to survey the damage while President Trump will be in Nashville on Friday. Power outages affect more than 44,000 customers early this morning. Jade?
Thanks, Amy. New this hour, for the first time, Japanese Olympic officials say the coronavirus could postpone the Summer Games. The Olympic minister said the Games do not have to start on July 24th as planned. The Games will only be canceled if they cannot be held this year. The Olympics have been canceled only 3 times, all during the World Wars.
The cure for coronavirus may be in our backyard. The Tulane National Primate Center in Covington is the only research facility in the country with the biocontainment facilities to work on a cure for the coronavirus. I spoke with researchers about the progress they are hoping to make.
Anytime you see disease spread like this, it is very alarming.
That's why a team of researchers at Tulane are working to contain it. A live sample of coronavirus is now here at the Tulane National Primate Research Center in Covington for study.
We can answer a lot of really important questions.
Questions like, how does the virus develop and spread? And are others more at risk for infection? The team's first step is to develop an animal model in which they infect non-human primates with the virus.
We can test vaccines, we can develop therapeutics.
All of the research will be conducted in the facility's regional biocontainment lab, something unique to the research center.
We have the largest capacity at this biosafety or biocontainment level in the country to do this.
The main goal of this research is to be able to one day have a vaccine that will treat coronavirus, but that may take some time. Dr. Rappaport says it could be up to a year before we see a vaccine that works in animals. Then it has to be tested in human clinical trials. Although it may be worrisome to hear that coronavirus is in our backyard, Director of Biosafety Angie Birnbaum says residents shouldn't worry.
We are incredibly equipped and well poised to be able to work with this at the highest levels of safety controls.
Birnbaum stressed the facility's main goal is containment and to find answers about the virus. The Brown Foundation funded the research, and the team on the North Shore is working to find more federal funding for the project.
Governor John Bel Edwards says there are no cases of the coronavirus in Louisiana, and the state is ready to take action if and when the virus does appear. Yesterday, he spoke about how the worldwide outbreak impacts the state's economy.
The Port of New Orleans has ordered 2 cranes that they need down at the port, and they're coming from China. Well, we now know that there will be a delay in receiving those cranes because the work isn't progressing as it had before.
The governor also created a COVID-19 task force to better deal with potential outbreak in the state.
New Orleans public school officials meet this week to plan for and manage any impacts the coronavirus may have on New Orleans. Loyola University sent out an email with its plan to deal with a possible outbreak. All classes could move online to Blackboard if needed. The Centers for Disease Control could place a ban on social gatherings, which includes schools. The university says its hurricane planning helped them craft the readiness plan.
A Loyola student quarantined himself after studying abroad in Italy, a country that's seen over 1,600 cases of the coronavirus. Robert Prasso spent the fall semester in Milan. Now he's decided to go home to New York and self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
When the CDC warning raised to level 3, that's when I called her again, and she said she recommends I come home. Not that I have to, because ISEP officially hasn't canceled the programs, but she recommends I come home because then we don't know if they're going to cancel travel with planes, and they don't know how long classes are going to be postponed. It could be indefinite. And it seems to me like that was the wisest choice, because now I see that flights are being canceled left and right.
Prasso is working with Loyola's Study Abroad office to try and register for 8-week classes and return to New Orleans.
This week, the Supreme Court takes up a controversial Louisiana law that could limit the number of doctors allowed to perform abortions. Reporter Lily Cummings joins us live in Washington, D.C., where arguments begin tomorrow.
Abortion providers say that law had an instant effect on clinics across the state. That's why they took Louisiana's Department of Health to court, and that case ended here in D.C. I had the chance to speak to both sides of this debate in Louisiana. Here's a look at what they had to say.
The law requires that doctors performing abortions have admitting privileges at a hospital within 30 miles of the clinic.
The purpose of this law is not for abortion clinics to close, but to make sure that physicians can obtain hospital admitting privileges in the case of an emergency.
New Orleans Abortion Fund says that the probability a woman needs to be admitted is unlikely.
Abortion is normal health care. 1 out of 4 women will have an abortion at some point in their lives. We all know someone who's had an abortion. We all love someone who's had an abortion.
There are only 3 abortion clinics right now in the state. Should the court uphold the law, it would leave Louisiana with 1 doctor who has those admitting privileges.
While this law going into effect would shutter, essentially, 2 of our clinics, right now abortion is difficult for some, impossible for others already to access in this state. We have the most abortion restrictions of any state in the United States. That's 89 abortion restrictions on the book.
But Louisiana Right to Life says,
if lives are being risked for these women who are going into these clinics, we are going to do something about it. And of course, we are doing something about it.
Isabel Medina, law professor at Loyola, said the court's decision will be interesting.
A really exciting term on the court to watch are a lot of issues that could really change the direction of constitutional law.
People across the country have their eyes on Washington as the Supreme Court makes their decision.
I would expect them in the summer.
That could uphold or overturn precedents.
Again, the Supreme Court will hear that case tomorrow. Also happening in D.C. tomorrow, New Orleans Abortion Fund and Louisiana Right to Life tell me they will participate in rallies supporting their sides of the issue. As well, there will be rallies in New Orleans near Lafayette Square tomorrow. Reporting live in D.C. for PAC News, I'm Lily Cummings.
Lily, when was this law proposed?
So the law was proposed in 2014. Obviously, a long process here. 6 years later, and the court is just hearing this case. And as you heard Professor Medina said, we probably won't even know the decision on this until the summer.
Thank you, Lily. 1/3 of the Democratic delegates are up for grabs as millions of Americans head to the polls this Super Tuesday in 14 states and 1 U.S. territory. Some candidates dropped out before Super Tuesday, including Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar. The former candidates are now endorsing Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Tulsi Gabbard, and Michael Bloomberg. They will all be on the ballots. Louisiana is not one of the states heading to the polls today. The deadline to register to vote in the Louisiana primaries in person or by mail is tomorrow, and online registration closes Saturday, March 14th. Registered voters can cast their ballots on a Democratic candidate on Saturday, April 4th. Take a look at this video. Up next, surveillance video shows the moments right before a gunman fired at a victim.
And there is a chance of severe thunderstorms. Cody, Downey will have your weather forecast coming up next.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
An update to recent car burglaries uptown. NOPD officers arrest 19-year-old Malik Hunley in connection with multiple car burglaries, including the one at Notre Dame Seminary last Friday. Hunley faces dozens of charges, including simple burglary and criminal damage.
New surveillance video shows the moments before a gunman fired at a victim during an attempted car burglary. Anum Siddiqui is live uptown where it all happened.
Jade, Tess, I'm at Jenna and Daniel, where early Sunday morning another car break-in happened. NOPD captured this video. Take a look. A surveillance camera captured a group of 3 subjects approach a white car, smash the window, and raid it. We see others attack the black SUV across the street. Now you can't see the confrontation, but police say a victim yelled at the group. Police say a gunman fired at the victim. You can even hear the gunshot. The victim was not hit. Police are looking for 5 people related to this incident. If you have any information, call NOPD. Back to you guys.
If you want to get a fix on crawfish, now is the time. I looked into how seafood lovers could save a little more cash for those mud bugs. Crawfish season is here, and according to seafood experts, the prices are lower this year compared to last.
Prices are better maybe because it's the beginning of the season. There's a lot of, offspring, a lot of crawfish all around. So, they're producing more right now.
Weather plays a big role in the turnout of crawfish production.
Whether it's cold or hot, we'd rather be hot because they grow a little faster. They'll be much healthier in size. And when it's cooler, you'll see a batch of real small, and people hate to buy them real small.
Right now, you can get a pound of crawfish for about $4.99.
We even had people from like China and the Caribbean and stuff from all over the world.
Just to try your crawfish?
Yeah, because Louisiana, we known for our seafood.
As customers came in and out of Boiled Seafood House, it was clear that most of them wanted one thing: crawfish. With Lent in full session, Bradley expects to have a full house in a restaurant more often.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
definitely.
your key.
Yes, yes. It's more of, the traditional thing.
Right now, you can get a pound of live crawfish for about $2 and a pound of boiled crawfish for about $4.
Strong storms on the way. We'll tell you what you need to know to stay safe in the coming days.
And after a make-or-break game for the Pelicans, what to watch for the team as they battle the Timberwolves. Up next.
to you, Lester.
Thanks, Taylor. And in our final story of the night,
Maroon has been ranked as one of the top student newspapers in the nation by the Princeton Review.
Loyola's basketball program has a chance to make history this week, potentially marking the first time both men's and women's teams repeat as conference champions. Today, both teams gear up for the drive to Montgomery, Alabama. Tournament play starts this Thursday. The women's team wants to win their 5th conference title in the past 6 years. They'll play as the number 2 seed. The men's team wants their second ever Southern State Athletic Conference title as the number 3 team this year. Loyola's dance and cheer teams prepare for their run at a national championship, marking the first time both squads will compete together in Iowa. Both teams won bids after their performances at the Southeast qualifier over the weekend. This is video of their routines taken at this year's conference championships. The dance team placed 2nd overall, earning their 3rd selection to the national stage, and the cheer team finished 3rd place for a 3rd year in a row. The national championships will be in Davenport, Iowa, starting this Friday. The Pelicans hit the hardwood today against the Timberwolves as they battle for the final spot in the Western Conference playoffs. Right now, the Pelicans sit 3 games back from the Memphis Grizzlies and after their weekend loss to LeBron James and the Lakers. New Orleans hopes their number 1 overall pick Zion Williamson will mesh better with the All-Star Brandon Ingram, while Williams racked up a new career-high 35 points. But Ingram fell flat with just 15 points in the 122-114 loss. Ingram did go on to say that he felt he was completely out of focus during the game against his former team. The Pelicans hope to iron out all the kinks tonight with the Minnesota Timberwolves in town. Tip-off will be at 7 o'clock in the Smoothie King Center. And feliz cumpleaños to the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Michael Thomas turns 27 years young today, and one of his teammates had to show him some love on social media. Now take a look at this. Drew Brees posted a photo of himself wearing his wide receiver shirt with the number 149 on it, signifying Thomas's NFL record of the most single-season receptions. The Saints also showed him some love this morning. Here's that post right there. Thomas played with the franchise since he was drafted back in 2016, and what a storied franchise it has been. The NFL also tweeted at Thomas, highlighting his recent offensive awards, his 3 Pro Bowl and his 2 Pro Bowl All-Pro selections.
Coming up, how some teens are finding loopholes to flavor bans on electronic cigarettes.
After thousands of reports of vaping-related illnesses and even deaths, the Federal Drug Administration cracked down on vaping legislation.
But consumers are finding a way around those new rules. Reporter Amy No has that.
Juuls, what some say started the vaping craze for young adults.
I like it, and it comes in like really nice flavors. Like, it felt safer.
As of February 4th, the Centers for Disease Control reported nearly 3,000 cases of lung injuries caused by the use of e-cigarettes, vapes, or other vaping products. In January, to combat the growing numbers, the FDA finalized regulations for the ban of flavored cartridges for electronic nicotine delivering systems. These flavors are particularly appealing to young adults, who make up the majority of e-cigarette users.
But these regulations only apply to products like these. And with that flavor ban in place, college students are still finding loopholes through products that look a lot like Juul.
I personally think Puff Bars changed the game.
Puff Bars are a brand of disposable, non-refillable e-cigarettes. They come in a variety of colors with corresponding flavors.
Taste range is like very much bigger than Juul, is, which is nice.
Users are sometimes spending $7 to $13 every 10 days to get their fix. But a 4-pack of Juul pods,
I believe $17 at the boot. For four, yes. And it was like for any flavor, like tobacco, mango. I could usually make those last a week.
but they say the price tag isn't too much of a sacrifice.
Could be worth it. I still think it's a lot of money to like ask, like especially if you're like someone that's like doing it all the time and like going through them a lot. Like I definitely would rather just like have you do something else.
I reached out to vendors to see the impacts they saw from the flavor ban, and all declined to comment. Amy No, PAC News.
That flavor ban doesn't apply to disposable one-time use vapes, just the cartridge using products.
That's all our news for now.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.